Hey guys, so for this video, we're going to deep dive into the new best double movement settings in Fortnite. Now, in case you haven't seen or heard about them yet, Epic Games finally added double movement for both console and PC in-game. Previously, the way it worked was you had to download a third-party application, something like Key Strafing or Wooting, and those rebinding softwares gave you double movement, aka controller movement, if you played on keyboard and mouse. Fast forward to today, however, you no longer need any of those third-party applications to improve your gameplay. It's all in-game. So yeah guys, I'm going to show you all the best settings to use. I'm going to walk you through all of them and show you how they work. I'm also going to discuss whether or not you should use them at all, since Wooting and Key Strafing are still allowed, they're not banned. I'm going to answer all of your questions. Thus, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, use code JERIAN to support me, and if you enjoy the video. In the meantime though, I think it's about time we check out the new double movement settings. Alright, so we're going to hop straight into the settings, or actually, I put up a tiny little keyboard cam, and you can see that even when I press WASD, I can't move. If you're like me and you're used to using other double movement softwares, then what you're going to have to do is go to your keybinds, and you're actually going to have to rebind WASD. Bruh. So yeah, make sure that these are incorrectly. If you use ESDF, or it doesn't really matter what you use, make sure you re-put in your movement keys, because now we're going to go to the actual new movement settings, which happen to be in this little mouse and keyboard option page. I have waited for these settings for a long time, and now they are finally in-game, right below my face cam. I don't even have to hide it. You can see the new in-game double movement. It's called Custom Diagonals, and to enable it, you're going to press on. Pretty simple. And Epic gives us two different options, our forward diagonal angle as well as our backward diagonal angle. Now, you guys know me. I'm not just going to tell you the best settings and then just instantly move on. I want you to understand the settings. That way you can test different ones out. You can find what works for you. Most settings are preference. So I guess starting with the forward diagonal angle, you can kind of read what it says. It's pretty straightforward. All it is, which I'll show by going down to 0, is when I run forward, and you can see this from the keyboard cam, it's the angle when I press either A or D, how far I go to the right or left. So right now I have it on 0. 0 means it does not go anywhere diagonally. That's why I'm running straight, which is why the default is at 45 degrees. This is standard keyboard and mouse movement. You can see I'm slightly going to the right and left. I'm pressing D right now, then A. I'm also randomly pickaxing. This is basically the normal angle we're all used to without double movement, 45 degrees. And now since you're learning, can you guys guess what 90 is gonna be? Oh my gosh, who would have thought? When I press A or D, I go perfectly 90 degrees. I don't really sprint, which is kind of like a bug, but also I guess not really, just because I am perfectly going 90 degrees. Bro, this is trippy. Moving on to the backward diagonal angle though, it's kind of like the same thing, but in reverse, backwards. So like the minimum backward diagonal angle is 90 degrees. It starts off where the forward diagonal angle ends, or the maximum of it. And what a 90-degree backward angle is, by the way, backwards is just, you can see, I'm pressing S. 90 degrees means when I press A or D, I'm literally gonna go 90 degrees. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy, Jerian. You're such a good teacher. 90 degrees to the right or left, backwards. Thanks, Epic Games. No, but for real, the standard, or the one that we're all used to, is 135 degrees. It's essentially the same as going 45 degrees backwards, but like, it's 90 plus 45. They do it in reverse. You just gotta think of it as like you're on a plane, and these are the directions. Starting from this point, you got 90, 90, 0, 45 that way would be 135. I think I'm explaining this correctly? Hopefully. The real confusing one is the maximum backward diagonal angle of 180. The way you should think of it is like 0. So if I go backwards and then I press S or D, I just don't go anywhere. It would kind of be simpler if they just did it from 0 to 90 like they did forwards. But I guess they want us to be correct and proper. You can see though, I'm pressing S and D, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm going straight backwards. This is 90 plus 90, 180 backwards. I feel like this is a math lesson or something. I don't want to go back to school. Now, as far as what I recommend and what I have found to be the best, pretty much the maximum angle you can get, at least forward. Backwards, you really don't want to touch. I'm very stubborn on leaving this at 135. The only thing you really want to change is the forward diagonal angle. And the max that I found I would personally go is 76. You can see with this, I'm running pretty much 90 degrees. I mean, it's as close as you can get, especially if you're someone who is used to Wooting and all the other double movement keyboard softwares. This is basically what like the max strafe angle looks like. And honestly, what it felt like, it feels really similar. For some weird reason though, I don't know if it's a bug or if Epic, did they purposely implement it this way? If you go to forward diagonal angle 77 degrees and apply it, just look what happens. If I press W and A or W and D, I can't sprint. You get the same weird thing when you went 90 degrees. And I don't know why it happens. I know a lot of stuff, but not this. So for that reason, anything between 77 and 90 is just not viable. You really want to stick between 76/75 and just find something that works for you that's above around probably 62. 62 is the lowest I would go. It's kind of like a little better than 45, but it's not as drastic as the 75 or when you're fully horizontal. Like, look at this. I can't like perfectly strafe to the side. You can see I'm going forward. It's not a full 90-degree angle unless I really like perfectly match it. But even then, you can see, me personally, I'm going to be using 75 and 135. Those are the two numbers that a ton of pros are using and that I personally think it's like the closest to Booga's from Keys 2X. This is what the strafing looks like. Let me go this way. But I'm perfectly strafing to the side. I'm using my optimal keybinds, and you really don't lose a lot of momentum. I know there's some people out there, specifically people that use 62 degrees. They kind of notice the little movement hitch or almost the stutter that you get when you go from right to left, like immediately. So you see that? You lose a little bit of momentum. I have gotten in the habit of obviously, whenever I switch off of D or A while I'm playing. Oh, I kind of got it there, but I've tried to get into the habit of immediately, or maybe not immediately, going to the other movement key. I take like a second. You see that? There's like a little second, and you don't lose as much movement. No movement loss, or momentum loss rather. But if you're someone who's not really a fan of the max double movement, just find something, like I said, in between maybe 60, 62, all the way up to 75. 70 is a good number. 69 is a good number. The higher the forward number is, the more you're going to strafe, as long as it's not above 76 as we saw. But at the same time, you're also going to lose that momentum, which right now I'm on 69. I'm not really losing as much momentum when I go side to side. I don't have to let go as fast. And that is why I say, ladies and gentlemen, it is preference. I can obviously give you numbers to try out, but everyone's different. You're going to like different stuff than me. So go ahead and find it on the new mouse and keyboard movement settings. I'm going back to 75, 135. As far as backward diagonal angle goes, I said it at the beginning, but 135 is the standard. It's what we're all used to, and there's really no reason to go above it. I've seen some people say that like 155 is good. I'm not a fan of anything that's not the standard 135, just because you kind of get that movement loss or momentum loss. The same one you get going forward when you're at a really high angle. You get the same thing going backwards, and it feels really clunky. I'm not a fan of it. It makes the game just feel awkward. And that is why I will be sticking to 135, 75, 135. They're my numbers. And those are what I think are the best double movement settings in Fortnite Chapter 3. One thing I quickly want to talk about before we actually go and try out the double movement is, you can see I have Wooting double movement here as well as Keys 2X. I also have Fortnite still open. Let me shrink this bad boy. The double movement settings are right here. I want to discuss the pros and cons of each because, yes guys, you can still use Wooting and Keys 2X. They're not banned. I know there have been some tweets from like Boop, and I think there was another EU pro who said that they're banned. That's just not true. Until Epic explicitly says it is banned, Keys 2X and Wooting are still allowed. The original blog post about double movement, it quite literally says that third-party applications, rebinding ones, as long as it's not a macro, you're allowed to use it for double movement, and that continues on to today. Kind of the only reason that this whole new double movement in-game is a thing is because FNCS Invitational is next month, and FNCS Invitational, it's a LAN. They are not allowing people to download third-party applications, so because of that, they needed to add a double movement movement thing in-game for everyone. And that's basically why we have this. Now, something that's really worth mentioning is the fact that if you look at Keys 2X input, you can see they have diagonal up. That's basically the same as forward diagonal. And then they also have diagonal down. Same thing as backward diagonal angle. But one, or I guess two of the benefits of Keys 2X input on top of Wooting is the two of those programs have something called single key strafes or single key strafing. How single key strafing works, I'll show it in Wooting because Wooting is really simple. Right here under advanced mode in strafing, if I drop down the enable single key strafing, you can make this setting any strafe angle you want. Most people have it on 100% and then they'll have their strafe angle at something like 75. And how this will work in game, you can see that I disabled my move forward, all of these keybinds. I'm on a third-party application double movement. I even went ahead and turned off the custom diagonals. And look guys, I can move and I'm not banned. But how single key strafing works is if you're using your movement normally, and you can see I brought back the little keyboard on cam thing. If I'm pressing W and A or W and D, I have my strafe angle at 69%. It's not quite 90, but it's definitely better than 45 degrees. The point is that it's double movement, but what single key strafing is that if I let go of W and I start only pressing A or only pressing D, look at this. I am going 90 degrees, or basically the angle that I set it to. I should show it in the window again because it's a little bit confusing, but not really. This is my normal strafe angle when I press W and A or W and D. That's how the new double movement in-game works, but what Wooting and Keys 2X have is what I've said before, the single key strafing. That's not available in-game, and that's why you see a lot of pros, they have their normal double movements, and then they have single key strafing when they let go of W. You can make really cool plays where you run up to a wall normally, and then you could go for a shot by just completely going left or completely going right. As you're only pressing D and A, you have a second strafe angle, single key strafing, and that's honestly a huge advantage that these third-party programs, they all have these options, but Fortnite, the new keyboard movement, you can see there's no single key strafing. It's simply W and A, W and D, S and A, S and D. Single key strafing is not available in game yet, and that's why I literally saw a tweet from Nick A30 where Nick said that he's not changing to the in-game double movement. He's going against Epic for once. He is staying on either Keys 2X or Wooting because he's used to the single key strafing. But at the end of the day, this is why it's all preference. If you prefer single key strafing or how specific Keys 2X and Wooting are, then you don't have to switch to the in-game double movement. Like, just look at this. Keys 2X input has all these settings. It also has a speed setting, which Fortnite just does not. You have the other advanced stuff, which are in your binds. It just has so much more options, like buttons, options here. Look at all these things. You don't get them in-game. You also don't get to change diagonal up or diagonal down by like 0.01 degrees. Fortnite is simply whole numbers. There's no decibels. There's no any of this stuff. So as I've been trying to get across to you guys, and as I've repeated so many damn times, it is simply preference, boys. You do not have to use the new double movement in-game. You can stay on Keys 2X. You can stay on Wooting. Epic is not going to ban you, at least not yet. That's a joke, by the way. Third-party softwares are still allowed. Just use whichever software or program you want and you're most comfortable on. If you want to know what I'm doing, I've kind of decided that I might as well switch to the in-game one because in-game will technically have less input delay. Any sort of software or program that you have opened, it's going to be more work on your PC, and this is in-game, less input delay, more FPS. But I also don't use single key strafing. I'm used to the normal, just forward diagonal angle and backward angle. I've also found that 75-135. This feels really similar to the Keys 2X that I was used to. I used Booga's settings, and you can watch this video on the screen right now if you actually want to learn how you can get pro settings and import them into Keys 2X. Weird Keys 2X feature in the middle of Fortnite's new, and I guess improved, double movement. You guys remember back in the day where you had to bind another keybind? I used to press left Alt and W and D to go all the way to the right. It was messed up. But now we finally have double movement. I'm going to use the in-game one since I'm a good boy. But for the last time, ladies and gentlemen, it is preference. Use what your heart desires and what you prefer. That's what you're going to be the best on. But yeah, that's everything you need to know about Fortnite's new in-game double movement settings. How awesome is that? To finish off the video, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta pwn some noobs. I kind of have said it like 50 times, but these are the settings I'm gonna use. 75 forward diagonal angle, 135 backward diagonal angle. Those are what I think are the best settings. And now we're gonna see just how cracked I am with them. I'll even leave up the little keyboard cam. We're gonna put the in-game double movement to the test. And what better way to do it than in Tilted Zone Wars? What is this brother doing? Oh my. Chill. I need some heals. My boy, Testy Tracker. Oh, he knows what he's doing. Come on, give me some heals. Oh, come on. Oh. Who? Okay, tarps are feeling good. Oh. Nobody saw that. Alright, I got a spaz. What is this brother doing? What? Bro, can I hit my shots? Holy crap. The piece was there, but the aim was not. Double kill? What the? We're on the fast movement right now. Whoa. I might be going too fast. No way. He died his own? I'm feeling crazy with this movement. Okay. We are really high up. 200? Nice retake. Use a lot of mats. All good though. Is this the last guy left? Oh, use him. Ah. Ah. Oh. Okay. That double movement is feeling nice. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. So yeah, guys, those are... What the... Those are all the best double movement settings in game. Oh my god! I just got shit on. What it comes down to is using what you prefer. Try out the different in-game settings. Obviously, if you don't like these, use what you're already comfortable with. It could be Wooting, keys to X. It does not matter. I wonder what this guy's using. Oh. Oh. Apparently not a good one. Just use whatever you enjoy, boys.